Have you ever looked at your lab results and wondered, how is it possible that your kidney numbers keep getting worse, even though you're eating healthy, cutting back on salt, and doing everything you were told to do? Because here's the truth no one tells you, and you need to hear this before it's too late. Some of the very foods you trust the most, the ones sitting in your kitchen right now, could be quietly pushing your kidneys toward failure. Without a single warning sign, without pain, without giving you a chance to react. And what makes this even more dangerous is that by the time most people feel something is wrong, the damage is already advanced, the filters inside the kidneys already scarred, the options already limited. That's why so many people are blindsided. Not because they didn't care about their health, but because they were misled by what they believed was safe. I'm Dr. Vincent Hale, and in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly which everyday proteins may be silently damaging your kidneys right now. And more importantly, the simple science-backed choices that can help you reduce the strain, lower your creatinine, and give your kidneys a real chance to recover. Because once you see what's really happening inside your body with every bite you take, you won't look at your next meal the same way again. Let's start with something most people never question. Organ meats, liver, kidney, heart. They've been praised for decades as nutrient-dense superfoods, packed with iron and vitamins. And on the surface, that sounds like exactly what your body needs. But here's the uncomfortable truth. For your kidneys, especially as you age, these foods can quietly become one of the most aggressive stressors you're putting into your system. I remember a 62-year-old patient who came in feeling constantly drained, his legs slightly swollen, his energy gone. He told me proudly that he avoided junk food and ate clean. In fact, he ate liver 2 to 3 times a week because he believed it would strengthen his blood. But his lab results told a very different story. His creatinine had nearly doubled in just a few months. What was happening inside his body wasn't nourishment, it was overload. Organ meats are extremely high in purines, compounds that your body converts into uric acid. When your kidneys are young and efficient, they can flush this out. But over time, that excess uric acid begins to crystallize, forming microscopic shards that irritate and damage the delicate filters inside your kidneys. A large-scale study following over 23,000 older adults found that those who consumed organ meats frequently had a 38% higher risk of declining kidney function. That's not a small margin. That's a warning sign most people never see coming. And the most dangerous part? You won't feel it happening. Not until the damage has already begun to stack up, meal after meal. But knowing this alone isn't enough, because many people who cut out organ meats think they've solved the problem, when in reality, they're about to rely on something even more deceptive. And this is where most people think they've made a smart move. They cut out organ meats and switch to red meat, believing it's a cleaner, safer source of protein. Lean steak, grilled beef, pork, it feels controlled, even healthy. But what's happening beneath the surface tells a very different story. I once worked with a 58-year-old woman who was doing everything right. She had eliminated processed foods, reduced salt, and proudly told me she only ate grilled steak twice a week for protein. No frying, no junk. Yet every follow-up visit showed the same pattern. Her creatinine was climbing, slowly but consistently. She looked at me one day and asked, "If I'm eating healthy, why am I getting worse?" The answer wasn't in how much she ate. It was in what red meat does inside the body over time. Red meat is rich in saturated fats and heme-iron, both of which trigger low-grade chronic inflammation. This isn't the kind of inflammation you feel immediately. It's silent, persistent, and it forces the kidney's filtration units to work under constant pressure. Over time, that pressure weakens the filters, reducing their ability to clear waste efficiently. A major long-term study tracking over 52,000 adults found that individuals who consumed red meat frequently had a 42% higher risk of developing chronic kidney disease compared to those who ate it sparingly. That's nearly 1 in 2 people. Not because they were careless, but because they trusted something that seemed normal. It's like increasing water pressure in an aging pipe system. At first, everything flows, but slowly cracks begin to form until one day the damage can't be reversed. But knowing this alone isn't enough, because when people try to replace red meat with something more convenient, they often walk straight into a far more dangerous trap. And that more convenient option is where things take a sharp turn. Because processed meats don't just stress your kidneys, they accelerate the damage in ways most people completely overlook. We're talking about bacon, sausages, deli meats, turkey slices, the kind of foods that feel quick, easy, and even lighter than red meat. I once had a 71-year-old patient who proudly told me, "I gave up beef years ago, doctor. Now I only eat turkey ham. It's healthier." But when we looked at his labs, his blood pressure was through the roof, his phosphate levels were elevated, and his kidney function had dropped significantly in just a few years. What he didn't realize, and what most people don't, is that processed meats are loaded with hidden sodium and inorganic phosphates. These aren't just harmless additives. Sodium drives up blood pressure, forcing your kidneys to work harder with every heartbeat. At the same time, phosphates bind with calcium in your bloodstream, forming microscopic deposits that harden blood vessels and damage kidney tissue over time. A clinical study published in the Journal of Renal Nutrition found that people who consumed processed meats regularly experienced a significant drop in kidney filtration rate within just 4 years. That's not slow decline. That's accelerated aging of your kidneys, happening quietly with every bite. Think of it this way. If red meat is a slow-burning fire, processed meat is gasoline poured directly onto it. It doesn't just maintain the damage, it multiplies it. And the most dangerous part? These foods are often marketed as lean, low-fat, or high-protein, making them seem like the smarter choice, when in reality, they're one of the fastest ways to push your kidneys toward overload. But knowing this alone isn't enough, because the next protein doesn't come in a package or a sandwich. It's something many people drink every single morning, believing it's one of the healthiest habits they have. And just when people think they've cleaned up their diet, cutting back on meat, avoiding processed foods, they often hold on to one habit that feels completely harmless, even healthy. Full-fat milk, a warm glass in the morning, maybe before bed. It's been marketed for decades as a symbol of strength, bone health, and comfort. I had a 65-year-old patient who followed almost every healthy eating rule perfectly. No red meat, no processed foods, plenty of water, but her kidney numbers kept getting worse. When I asked about her daily routine, she smiled and said, "I drink 2 glasses of whole milk every day. It's good for me, right?" That's where the hidden problem was. The issue isn't milk itself, it's the casein protein found in full-fat dairy. Casein is dense and slow to break down, which means it produces a higher load of nitrogen waste during digestion. For younger kidneys, that's manageable. But as kidney function naturally declines with age, this extra waste becomes a constant burden, forcing the filtration system to work overtime, day after day. A long-term study from the Framingham Heart Study found that individuals over 60 who consumed full-fat milk frequently had a 33% higher risk of measurable kidney function decline compared to those who consumed less. That's not just a minor effect. It's a steady, compounding strain. Think of your kidneys like a filtration machine that never gets to rest. Every time you add a heavier, harder to process protein, it's like increasing the load without giving the system a break. Eventually, even a strong machine begins to wear down. But here's the shift most people don't expect. Not all protein creates stress. Some choices actually do the opposite. They reduce inflammation, support your gut, and give your kidneys the relief they've been silently asking for. But knowing this alone isn't enough, because the next protein isn't just safer. It may be one of the most overlooked ways to start helping your kidneys recover from the inside out. And this is where the story begins to change, because not all protein works against you. In fact, some of the most powerful support for your kidneys doesn't come from cutting things out, but from adding the right combination back in. And one of the most overlooked is plain yogurt paired with flaxseed. I remember a 64-year-old woman who had struggled for years with fluctuating kidney numbers. She had already removed most harmful foods, but still felt bloated, sluggish, and frustrated. Instead of restricting her further, I suggested something simple. Half a cup of unsweetened yogurt each morning with a spoon of freshly ground flaxseed. She was skeptical. Like many people, she believed all dairy was bad for the kidneys. But within 2 months, something shifted. Her digestion improved, the swelling reduced, and her lab results began to stabilize. What changed wasn't magic. It was biology. Yogurt contains probiotics, beneficial bacteria that help restore balance in your gut. And this matters more than most people realize, because when your gut is inflamed, toxins like urea and ammonia leak into the bloodstream, forcing your kidneys to work harder. By calming the gut, you reduce that toxic load before it even reaches your kidneys. Flaxseed adds another layer of protection. It's rich in omega-3 fatty acids and soluble fiber, which help lower inflammation and bind excess waste in the digestive tract, preventing it from circulating through your body. Studies on gut-kidney interaction have shown that improving gut health can directly support kidney function over time. So instead of adding pressure, this combination creates relief. It works upstream, giving your kidneys fewer toxins to deal with in the first place. But knowing this alone isn't enough, because there's another tiny addition, even simpler, that can act like a daily shield against inflammation. And most people completely underestimate its power. And that tiny addition most people overlook is something you've probably seen 100 times but never took seriously. Chia seeds. They're small, almost unnoticeable, but what they do inside your body is anything but small. I once worked with a 60-year-old man who had already changed his diet, reduced salt, cut out red meat. He was doing everything he thought was right, and yet his creatinine levels barely moved. He looked at me and said, "I feel like I'm trying everything, but nothing is working." When we reviewed his diet closely, there was one missing piece: anti-inflammatory support. His body wasn't overloaded with toxins anymore. It was stuck in a state of silent inflammation. So I asked him to do one simple thing: add 1 tablespoon of soaked chia seeds to his morning routine. 3 months later, his results told a different story. His creatinine dropped, his blood pressure stabilized, and his energy came back. Not dramatically overnight, but steadily, consistently. Chia seeds are loaded with omega-3 fatty acids, antioxidants, and soluble fiber. These nutrients work together to lower inflammation markers like CRP, protect the delicate blood vessels in your kidneys, and slow the absorption of sugar, which helps reduce metabolic stress on the entire system. A long-term nutritional study found that individuals who consume sufficient omega-3 daily had a significantly lower risk of kidney disease progression, especially when combined with a balanced diet. And chia seeds are one of the simplest ways to get that support without overloading your body. Think of them as a daily shield, not something that fixes everything at once, but something that quietly protects you day after day. But knowing this alone isn't enough, because even with less inflammation, your kidneys still need one critical thing to truly recover: better blood flow, better oxygen, and a stronger filtration system from within. And this is where everything comes together, because reducing stress and inflammation is only part of the equation. For your kidneys to truly recover, they need something deeper: stronger blood flow, better oxygen delivery, and a protein source that works with your body, not against it. That's where Mackerel changes the game. I once met a 67-year-old man who had done it all: cut salt, removed red meat, added seeds, cleaned up his diet completely, but he still felt weak, cold in his hands, low energy. His labs showed only slight improvement. His body wasn't overloaded anymore. It was undernourished at the cellular level. So I suggested something simple, almost unexpected: eat a small portion of mackerel twice a week. He laughed at first, like many people do, because fish doesn't feel like powerful medicine. But 3 months later, his numbers told a different story. His filtration rate improved, his blood pressure stabilized, and for the first time in years, he said he felt alive again. Mackerel is rich in EPA and DHA, two of the most active forms of omega-3 fatty acids. These compounds don't just reduce inflammation, they improve the flexibility of blood vessels, increase nitric oxide production, and enhance circulation. That means more oxygen and nutrients reaching the kidneys, allowing the filtration system to function more efficiently without strain. A cardiovascular study found that people who consume fatty fish regularly had a 28% lower risk of kidney disease progression, not because they ate less, but because they nourished better. Think of it this way. If your kidneys are the filter, then your blood is the river flowing through it. And when that river moves smoothly, everything changes. But here's the part most people don't realize. This final choice doesn't just support your kidneys, it may quietly determine how long they can continue to support you. If you've made it this far, that already tells me something important about you. You care about your health, and more than that, you're willing to learn and take action before it's too late. And that matters more than any single food or habit, because protecting your kidneys isn't about perfection. It's about making smarter choices one step at a time. Maybe it's reducing one harmful protein this week, or adding something simple like yogurt, chia seeds, or fish into your routine. Small changes, repeated daily, can completely shift your future. So here's my advice to you. Don't wait for symptoms. Don't wait for a warning from your doctor. Start now, while your body still has the ability to recover, to adapt, to heal. Your kidneys are working for you every second, quietly, faithfully, and they deserve that same level of care in return. If this video helped you see things differently, take a moment to save it, because you or someone you love may need this reminder again. And make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the latest medical insights and simple science-based strategies to protect your kidneys and improve your health long-term. Because your body's not broken, it's responsive, it's resilient, and with the right choices, it can still move back toward balance. Your journey to better kidney health doesn't start someday, it starts with what you choose next.